Okay, guess what? Apples were buy one, get one free today. Oh, cool. I went yesterday when they were buy one, get two free.
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Hi, my name is Leanna, and today I'm going to talk about comparing yourself to others because it's something I have struggled with and still do, and I know I'm not alone. I know other people do as well, so I just wanted to chat about it today. This channel is very creativity oriented and also attempting to entertain you by doing things like chroma keying myself into a dollhouse. If you're interested, please subscribe. And let's get to it. First off, you're obviously going to want to acknowledge it and be aware that it's happening and differentiate it from inspiration and motivation. I know sometimes I have confused the two and I've felt like I need to consume this content because it's making me want to be better, but I knew it really wasn't helping me. I have so many reasons to be happy and proud of my achievements, and so do you, but some days and sometimes I decide to focus solely on things other people have that I don't have. Why? I don't know. It's natural for us as humans to want to compare ourselves, but we just have to acknowledge when it's clearly getting in the way of our lives. One of the main things is be careful with what you consume. What I was doing is I was looking at images, videos, whatever it may be, and I felt like maybe it was inspiring or motivating me. And I felt like if I was feeling insecure at all, I should just face it and face the fear or face the insecurity. But in reality, there's no shame behind cutting that off and not looking at it. It doesn't mean you're a wimp. It means that you care about your mental health. With my situations, it tends to feel like kind of a FOMO. There will be someone who I kind of start to compare myself to, and I don't know if I'd call it an addiction, but I have this desire to keep seeing what they're up to, even though I know it's not making me feel good. It's like eating junk food that tastes bad with the hope that eventually it'll taste good, which makes no sense, and that's the first metaphor I came up with. Simile. But all you're really missing out on is insecurity and comparing yourself, so it's really good to cut it off. I got 15 hinge matches just today. Nice, I just got 20 today.
When you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never.
Something I was thinking about is the idea that my mind was telling me to compare myself in hopes of feeling more motivated, then achieving my goals, then feeling happy. Meanwhile, the easiest way to feel happy is to just not compare myself. My brain needs to be nicer to me.
And I need to be nicer to my brain.
That can mean tracking your time on your phone or Instagram. And I'm kind of surprised that Instagram has that, where it actually lets you know if you want to set a certain time. But I think they knew that people would appreciate it. But if it's something more specific, like one person or a few people, you can unsubscribe, unfollow, or mute. The mute button is an interesting thing, and with it comes a lot of other interesting reasons that it exists, but I'm glad it exists. And it's no one's fault. It's not that person's fault for living their life, and it's not your fault, but it's just better for you to cut that off. I linked an article in the description because it had a very good point that comparisons are meant for numbers, metrics, and scientific discoveries, not comparing where someone else is in their journey towards their goal, or because someone can afford a large entrance of their child's mouth. Now, this is something that I love, and it just makes me laugh and it makes me smile because it's not something I personally want, but that's how we should feel, even if it is something we do personally want. Much harder, but that's how we should feel about anyone else's goals, achievements, and journeys, because it's theirs, and you don't want it because you want your own. Let it pass like thoughts during meditation. This can be hard to accept, but life isn't always fair. It can be very frustrating when you see that someone got something because of who they know or an advantage they had, but at the same time, that's all you're seeing. I recently watched the Paris Hilton documentary, and it very much showed that her life wasn't exactly what a lot of people saw, the glamorous side. These people who have these advantages also have disadvantages in some regards. A celebrity or someone that you're jealous of could be going through a breakup or dealing with their child hitting another kid over the head with a shovel right as you're enjoying a burrito bowl, or just something that you love, or prancing through a field. One of my favorite celebrities mentioned in a podcast that her child hit another kid over the head with a shovel, and I was like, maybe I was having a really good day when she was dealing with that. And it's not that I want them to have these downs, but we're all human. Comparison is also incredibly unfair to yourself because these people may have been working incredibly hard for a much longer period of time, but you also have to acknowledge there are people who are working less hard than you and who won't start at it until years after you. And it's not good to compare either side, but if you're gonna compare yourself to people, on the other side of you who have done it longer or maybe seem more successful at it, you also have to acknowledge that you're not at the very bottom. There are people starting after you as well. And those people who aren't as far along in their journey as you, it's not like you would want them to compare themselves to you. That can help put things into perspective, but it's not healthy until you're just focusing on you. Unless, of course, it's valid inspiration or motivation. As blunt as it may sound, it does rob you of happiness. That's not to say that your whole life is going to be unhappy. It's just going to be those moments where you consume things that you know you probably shouldn't. But if you see something that's going to affect you more, just turn it off, unfollow, stay away from that. I've had days where I plan to do something, go to the store to buy an avocado, eat dinner, film a video, and I'll consume something of someone's life who isn't doing anything wrong, but it affects me, and it makes that thing that I plan to do a lot harder. Meanwhile, I have the money to buy an avocado, food to eat dinner, and equipment to make a video. There are 7.8 billion people in the world, and an estimated 107 billion people who have ever lived. I read that online, so take it with a grain of salt, but it really shows you that if you're gonna have this one life, sometimes you gotta put the blinders on and just focus on you. That's not to say you can't read a magazine or go online. I don't know if anyone reads magazines anymore, but just regulate it and cut it off the second it starts to affect you. Yeah, that $1,000 contest I entered, I freaking won it.
No way.
Yeah, I thought it was so pointless to enter, but... Oh, Jill's calling. I have to tell her. Bye. Jill, that $1,000 contest I entered, I won it.
Oh my god, that is so crazy because I just found $10,000 on the ground. I was going to the park that I always go to and I never would have expected.
Another really valid point that people need to consider is that your circumstances won't change it. You could have $10 million and someone else could have 20 and you could be jealous of them. You could have 10 million followers and someone else could have 20 million and you could be jealous of them. So that insecurity is gonna be there no matter what level you're at. And that's something that we kind of forget. And it's the same concept that happiness and fame and money are not all intertwined. Happiness is its own thing and you have to find that wherever you're at. So weirdly enough, realizing that it's gonna continue with you until you stop it can be a really nice motivator to realize it's something you need to cut off on your own. So don't convince yourself that these feelings are deserved at your level, because the people you're comparing yourself to are possibly comparing themselves to other people who they might be jealous of for one reason or another, and then there are people who might be comparing themselves to you as well. And these feelings can cause resentment, and I will admit when I have these feelings, I feel some jealousy and resentment in my head, and it's something we can acknowledge on our own, and the people who handle those feelings wrong are the ones who take it out on other people, and it really isn't gonna make you feel any better. I don't know how they feel when they're getting in bed at night knowing that they took it out on other people, because wouldn't you regret it or feel embarrassed? These people need to realize that sending a nice comment, letting this person know they inspire you, or just not saying anything at all and going along with your life and not consuming whatever it is that made you feel jealous or resentful, that's gonna make you feel so much better. I've had those feelings, but I also know where they came from. I know that there was something about them that I kind of wished I had. So sometimes I'll compliment them or let them know they inspire me in the least cheesy way possible, and it instantly makes me feel better. It seems basic, but it really helps. My weakness comes often when I feel like someone is at the same kind of level in their journey and we're trying to go for a very similar goal, but then I see them kind of go faster than me in achieving that goal, and I feel like they're outrunning me. Even if you did send that nice comment, it's also okay to unfollow, or just stop searching their name online. Again, that basic phrase that seems cliche, but it's also incredibly helpful for you. Focus on yourself. Meditate, grab your journal, write about how happy you are to have the things in your life that you have, and enjoying the present moment and balancing your goals with things you enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis is so healthy. I have this 7-mile route I do around the lake, and don't assume that I'm jogging it. A lot of it is walking, and it's helped so much because I'm just running through the trees in the present moment, listening to Put Your Records On by Corinne Bailey Rae, and it's a very nice experience. We get used to what we have and we want more, but we have to stop observing other people who seemingly have more. And you'll get so much better at not caving into that comparison the more you acknowledge it, focus on your mental health, and focus on your own goals. I want to leave you with 3 things. Acknowledge it and take it with a grain of salt because we're all human and it's perfectly normal. Regulate what you consume and focus on yourself and your own goals. I hope this gave you guys some good points to remember when you feel like something is affecting you. If you found it helpful and/or enjoyed it, please give it a like, consider subscribing and turning on the bell, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
On your mark. Get set. Go.
A few minutes later.
Hey, congrats. You just ran a 4-minute mile.
Thanks, but the other girl ran a 3-minute and 59.5-second mile.
But you just ran a 4-minute mile.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Of other people's lives is taking away time for your... Before you know it, the time you spent... So don't convince how these people comfortably go to bed at night knowing they were that rude. Give me this idea.